Hello friends, welcome back to the fifth and probably the last episode of the PMDG Boeing 777 video tutorial series. We are currently cruising at flight level 340 and we have another step climb to flight level 360 as I mentioned at the end of the last video. We are not quite there yet, and as I expected, the ATC software I am using, which is beyond ATC, does not have any functionality for requesting oceanic clearance. We are currently with the Shamvik oceanic controller at frequency 133.905 and following their instructions, but there was no way to request the oceanic clearance. Anyway, we will live with that, and for the step climb, currently it looks like the ATC software is reading our flight cruise level as flight level 340, and we will request an altitude change to flight level 360 when it's time to climb to that last step climb altitude. We are about to enter the ETOPS zone, as I said, and it has been an eventless flight. We are currently still at 4 times the time compression or sim rate and expecting to cross the Atlantic and get to the North America, entering the North America from Canada side, and then we will eventually pass over Lake Michigan and eventually land to Chicago O'Hare Airport. So right now there is really nothing much to do other than monitoring the aircraft systems such as fuel, bleed air, hydraulics, etc., and just enjoying the views this sim provides. I will bring you guys when we are getting close to top of descent, and we'll take it from there. We'll discuss about the descent planning and descent checklist, and I will probably cut the video until we reach the arrival phase below 10,000 to prepare the aircraft to get ready for landing to our destination airport. Currently, we have planned the runway 27 center arrival into O'Hare, but I'm not sure if the ATC is gonna change it and give us a different runway for landing. We will see that, and I'll see you guys at top of descent. Hello friends, we are not quite at our top of descent, but I just wanted to share the last step climb and how you can monitor this and what you expect to see in the flight management computer. So if we jump into the cockpit, you'll see in the progress page there is this line item where you see how much distance left to your last step climb and the expected time of arrival to that waypoint. So again, the next page is also showing that we are expected to be at flight level 360 at this waypoint. We are on VNAV, and I'm not sure the aircraft will start climbing, but we are gonna contact the ATC and request an altitude change manually.
Swiss 6 for heavy, request altitude change.
Swiss 6-4 heavy, roger, say new altitude.
Right, we are gonna request flight level 360.
Request flight level 360, Swiss 6 for heavy.
Swiss 6-4 heavy, confirm new altitude flight level 360.
Affirmative, Swiss 6 for heavy.
Swiss 6-4 heavy, roger, climb to flight level 360.
Climb to flight level 360, Swiss 6 for heavy.
Okay, that's our next altitude clearance. We are gonna engage the flight level change, and the aircraft will start climbing to flight level 360, and hopefully we will reach flight level 360 before that waypoint. Also, the other way was you can leave it in VNAV, and VNAV will probably start climbing to flight level 360, but I just wanted to share the flight level change experience. This is from a video that I watched on YouTube It's mostly used by the real life pilots to climb at a slower rate for passenger comfort. So we will leave that altitude earlier than the waypoint, but it is fine. We are already cleared by the ATC, and I'll see you guys when we reach our top of descent. We still have roughly around 4 hours to go according to our progress page. If we check here, we are expected to be at Chicago at 1810 Zulu, and currently it is 1247 Zulu, so that's roughly 5 hours flight time to our destination. I'll be seeing you guys at top of descent very shortly. Welcome back, friends. We are roughly 60 miles away from our top of descent. Made it to North America without any issues. The sim rate and auto time compression worked just fine, and we need to start planning the descent and doing the flows that we need to do to prepare the aircraft for descent. So let's hop into the cockpit and start planning our descent and what we need to do. Before I left, I told that the time compression and the step climbs, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if you don't turn auto step climbs on, you are responsible to start the climb as you get close to those waypoints where you need to change the altitude during the step climb. And if that's turned on, the VNAV will do it for you. Anyway, there's our top of descent waypoint, and we have a couple things to take care of to prepare the aircraft for descent. We first will go and I pre-tuned the ADIS of the destination airport into our nav radio or nav 2 radio, so we will listen to the ADIS first.
Altimeter 29990, landing
So we
runway
got the
09
altimeter.
left, 10 center, 10 right, departing runways 10 left, 09 center. Advise on initial contact, you have information Juliet.
And we have information Juliet.
Chicago
Altimeter is
Airport
299er.
information Juliet.
0.
1540 Zulu. Wind 145 at 8, gusts 17, visibility 7. Light rain. Ceiling 5,500 broken. 90000 broken. Temperature
Cloud coverage.
2.21. Altimeter 29990. Landing runways 09 left, 10 center, 10 right. Departing runways 10 left, 09 center. Advise on initial contact, you have information Juliet.
Okay, I think we got what we need for now. Looks like we are not gonna land to the runway that we initially planned, which was 27 center. Landing runways are 09er and 10 left and right, I believe, if I heard it correctly. We can always listen to this again. So we need to change this based on what ATC gives us. That will change things a little bit, but it's fine. We know the runway is wet because there's light rain. So let's go and calculate our landing. So we will land with flaps 30. Our expected landing weight, let me see here. I'm trying to see where I would see that information. It would be usually the progress page. We are expected to land with 13.4 tons of fuel, and we currently have 15.3. So that's roughly 2 tons difference from our current weight, which we can import the information from the aircraft and take it down by 2 tons just to give it $217,825. Let's just type it in. That should do it. Flaps 30, AC will on, anti-ice We probably will not need it. The temperature looks okay. Reverser will be all operational. Auto brakes, we will do auto brakes 3. There's no non-normal conditions. We will add 5 knots to compensate for weather, and there's the weather information. And let's hit calculate. Oh, runway length, because we haven't selected the runway. We don't know it yet, but we will plan for runway 9er left and calculate and see what we get. What did it say? Oh, okay. So we're probably not gonna get runway 9er left. So I'm gonna go and listen to ADIS one more time just to make sure I have the other 2 runways.
9er, landing runway 09er left, 10 center, 10 right. Departing runways 10 left, 09er center. Advise on initial contact.
We have we need to plan for 10 center. And see if this will give us the landing weight is in excess of the structural limit. Okay, we'll just do the landing calculation later, because I am not sure if we are entering this information correctly. As I said, this would I'm not quite proficient in this aircraft just yet, so I'm trying to find out where I find this information. If you have some knowledge that is available, please let me know. But I thought it should be under the progress page. Let's see here. That's the fuel. That's the fixes. It's not here. Let's check the menu first, because we need to do the approach page anyway. So gross weight is like 221.4. We will take 2 tons away from it. That should be it. 219.4, which is 400. And let's see if it will calculate now. There we go. So 145 is our landing speed. That's the required distance. That's the available distance. I think auto brake setting is fine. And we will just put this in here. We will land flaps 40. Plug it in here. 145 is the VREF, so we will adjust that and set it ourselves. We are coming to top of descent, so we are gonna set the altitude to something lower than our current, and we haven't heard from ATC yet about our descent clearance. So let me check the progress page very quickly. 9 miles. So let's contact ATC and call them that we are ready for descent. Gander Center, Swiss 64 Heavy, ready for descent.
Swiss 64 Heavy after windy, cleared via windy 2. Pilot's discretion descend and maintain 15,000. Chicago O'Hare Airport landing runway 9er left, altimeter 29990.
Okay.
After windy, cleared via windy 2, pilot's discretion descend and maintain 15,000. Chicago O'Hare Airport landing runway 9er left, altimeter 29990, Swiss 6 for heavy.
We are landing to runway 9er left. And let's see here. Windy is our next waypoint, I believe. Let's check the ND very quickly. We are currently approaching windy. Yes, we will pass that here, execute, and now it should take it into action and continue the navigation without any issues. And now we have the landing information confirmed. That should be also reflected here. Now we are cleared down to 15,000 and the aircraft already started descending, so we will set the altitude to 15,000 for now, and we will complete the descent checklist very shortly. Let me just bring the checklist here. Alright, recall is checked, notes are checked, auto brake is going to be set to 3, which is now set. Landing data, VREF is 145. Minimums, we can check the charts for the minimums very quickly. Bring it up, approach. Runway 9er left, ILS approach. There is the chart. What happened? Oh, there we go. So the minimums, if we go and look, down below is 868. So we will set the altimeter. We are currently at inches mercury. Altimeter is 29990. And the minimums, we will use the parametric minimums and set it to 868. And round it up and do it 890. Oh, I accidentally reset the... Okay, no. Alright. 868. Hopefully I will set it very shortly. It's just fiddling with this knob is not that easy. Oh, come on now, I don't want you to speed up the scrolling. So you've got to be careful with this, because as you scroll more, it's gonna creep up more. Okay, finally getting there. They need to do something about this, because it's not really... See, it's not really easy, it's just passing it. Check it one more time, 868. Yeah, this part I'm not quite happy with it, but we got there, so we hopefully will be able to set it now. There we go, 868 is set. Let's sync our heading to the current heading and drop the range just a little bit to see better. We are still turning. Alright, we can complete the checklist now. VREF 145, minimums are set 868, approach briefing is complete, and descent checklist complete. Now we can remove the sun visors here. Let's get closer to remove this guy too, and then we will do the same thing on the co-pilot side. These back ones are not so easy to remove. We'll just get rid of that one too. We'll get rid of the pilot one as well. Okay, finally, after windy, cleared via windy 2, that's our arrival that we already programmed. Runway 9er left and altimeter 29990. Okay, we can check that approach chart, which is this guy here, and make it full screen. So we passed windy and we need to receive vectors to final for our approach. So we will see what vectors we will get from the ATC. It should be on our FMC as well. If we check the legs page, after band we have vectors, and we should be fine from there. One thing I probably have to do right now is to make sure we have the correct course and the frequency 111.975 and course final approach course is 093, which we can verify with the approach chart, which I should have pinned. Let's pin this. 111.75, final approach course 0903. Okay, that's verified now, and we are pretty much good for the rest of the flight. And let's see here, landing ref QNH, all of this should be okay, and we should be ready to go. Okay, from here I need to keep descending and bring you guys back to execute the approach. I'll see you in a little bit when we are ready to execute the approach and at the altitude. Alright friends, we leveled at 5,000 feet and looks like we are not receiving any vectors from the ATC. Therefore, we are going to take care of it ourselves. What I'm gonna do is, let's take a look at the chart very quickly while we are flying on vectors. On heading select mode, we have John, S, Wonder, and Ilium, TRYXI, and Daji. Those waypoints are missing from our FMC, so I'm gonna add those to here. So first one we need to add is John, just to make sure the aircraft is following the approach route properly. That's the first one. That will go above Daji, and then Echo Sierra 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 Sierra. That will go here. From that, Wonder. You might not need this in a different airport, but I don't know what happened here. We are missing couple waypoints. It could be due to the arrival we selected or were given with the ATC. That might not be quite the correct one, but we will fix this by adding these into the FMC. And finally, Daji here. Execute. Now we need to set the altitude. 2,300 is incorrect. We need to set this to 5,000 here. It's not giving me that, so we will do 220 5,000, and maybe that will accept it. No, it's not accepting it for some reason. Okay, that means we will not be able to use VNAV because we have a hard restriction here, 4,000 or above. And I don't know why am I not able to enter this information in here. This could be a bug, this could be something else, this could be something I am doing wrong. But it's usually entered this way and it's not accepting it, so. And at this point I don't know, well, how to fix this. We will just select this waypoint, enter it, and then maybe we can program the altitude. Now maybe it's the vectors causing that. No. Okay. We will not use VNAV then. We will use the LNAV to get to that waypoint. It's right here, so we need to wait a little bit more just to make sure that that turn is not too sharp. And then we will take care of the rest using the localizer mode and the glide slope mode. Eventually we need to descend below to 2,200 feet. We will do that with either flight level change or vertical speed mode. But I will probably use flight level change because I want to maintain the speed constant, so that's what we will do. But I think we are ready to make that turn very shortly, and hopefully we'll be okay for the rest of the flight. These things do happen, I'm not too concerned about it. I think we can make that turn now. Let's see. Looks like we are not are we turning? That's a little bit interesting. And the speed is not looking good too. Okay. Something went south. We need to do this ourselves, so we'll just look at heading select, because LNAV is not, oh, well, LNAV is not doing anything because it cannot capture. We are too far away, so we need to get closer for the LNAV to engage. I see now. We are not gonna worry about the VNAV and the speed that's in the box, but we will intercept John, and the aircraft should engage LNAV and get us there. Once we are at that waypoint, I will drop the speed to 220, which is the flaps up speed, and configure the aircraft for landing. That's a little bit shame on the beyond ATC end, but we'll see if that will get corrected with a future update, because we didn't transition from the oceanic control to the local area air traffic control properly. I'm gonna keep turning until we get LNAV engaged and keep the John in the center of my heading bug. We'll set the altitude now to 220 knots, 2,200 feet, I'm sorry. We are on altitude hold, so no need to worry about breaking that altitude restriction. That was the wrong knob. I get nervous when I'm landing in an aircraft, but we will see the LNAV engaging hopefully when we get closer to that waypoint. We are at 4 miles, so I'm not sure why LNAV is not engaging, but if it doesn't, we will take care of the rest ourselves. So missed approach is 4,000 feet. LNAV is finally engaged. Oh, the FMC doesn't accept those restrictions because, yeah, John has a 9,000 restriction, so we breached that. ESS Wanderilium Teriyaki. This is the 5,000 restriction which we can try to put in to see if it will accept it. No. Okay. We will continue like this. We will assume that the ATC cleared us to this altitude. Are we picking the ILS signal of the localizer? Not quite there yet, I believe. But now we are kinda doing some weird moves. That's the 25-mile ring that I put as a fix into the box, if you look. So that tells us that we are 25 miles away from the airport. Did you guys see that weird move? I didn't understand why it did that, but it did it. So let's sync our heading back to the final approach course, because that's gonna be the route that we are taking anyway. And now we are getting to the radar fix of Ilium, which is the next point after our curve. I'm gonna engage the localizer and wait for a little bit before we descend. We might wanna set the speed to 220 knots before or close to this waypoint, so that we can slow down and have time to descend to final altitude, but that's gonna be a little bit later. Once we captured the localizer, let's set the altitude to 0 and arm the approach and use the flight level change to drop the altitude. We are gonna drop the speed to 180 knots to allow ourselves a little bit more time, even 175. We are currently at flaps 5 and we can go flaps 15 at this point. We are expecting glide slope capture very shortly, so we will drop the landing gear. Glide slope captured, landing gear coming down. We will arm the speed brakes. All speed brakes are already armed, landing gear is down. We will complete the landing checklist very shortly. Okay, so we'll set the speed down to 150 knots. Landing gear down, flaps not set yet, so we'll go flaps 20. Finally 145 knots, flaps 25. And flaps 30. That will complete the landing checklist. We will turn on the taxi and runway turn-off lights. And we are on a good approach course. Obviously there is some traffic that's causing some issues, so I'm gonna shut down FSLTL to remove the traffic because I don't want that obstructing the view. There we go. Once the Beyond ATC has traffic injection, all of this should be sorted out very nicely. Alright, we are good to go. Coming down to 2000 feet. A little bit bumpy, looks like. Alright, land is shown. We are not gonna do auto land today. We are gonna land it ourselves. I am gonna wait just a little bit more to get below 1000 radio altitude, and I will disconnect the autopilot and take the control. Thrust is doing some weird things, I'm not sure. Doesn't look well. Autopilot disconnected. Right, we are following the glide slope still. Looking good. We don't want to descend too early. We want to avoid hitting these buildings. Just follow the puppies.
500.
We are a little bit high, I can see that. But I'm trying to stay above the buildings, so maybe I'm just overreacting to this.
Sync rate.
But those buildings are looking too close in my opinion. Okay.
Approaching minimum.
Auto throttle this.
Sync rate. Minimum. Sync rate. Glide slope. Glide slope.
We will.
Glide slope.
It will be a little bit high,
Glide slope.
and we might float just a little bit, but we will flare. And then nose wheel is down. Reversers engaged. Not bad, not bad. Disengage the reversers, and we will roll the aircraft until the end of the runway. Cancel the auto brakes. Gather some thrust to use this exit to vacate the runway. We will use this high-speed exit. Slow it down. Landing lights are now coming off. Strobe is coming off too. I'm just using my controller to do those things. We will start the APU and continue taxiing to our gate. We'll bring the flaps up. Speed brakes can be stowed. That's it. I think we made it. Just a little bit interestingly, as the ATC decided not to give us any instructions. We had some issues with the VNAV or altitude capture, and now my sim is frozen. I hope it doesn't crash. But okay, we made it. We are here. We will circle and find ourselves a parking spot. I am tempted to park this to Terminal 5 in O'Hare because that's the international terminal. Looks like we are going to cross a runway. We will turn on the landing and strobe lights momentarily. Quickly check and make sure there is no aircraft, and we will cross. We have a long taxi. I'm gonna cut the video here and bring you guys back when we are ready to park the aircraft. Landing lights strobe comes off, and I'll see you here in a little bit. Welcome back, friends. We made it to the international terminal. It should be on our left side now. And we are gonna find a parking spot for our aircraft and complete the shutdown procedure. Right, so this left side is the international terminal at O'Hare. We will follow this taxi line inbound and perhaps park over there where that empty gate is right here. Maybe we can take this gate too. One of them should be fine. We are closing to the gate. Let's turn the transponder to standby. Use this gate right here. Slow the aircraft down and then make the turn. Perfect. Now, I suck at parking. If you are a regular in the channel, you probably know about this by now, but I'm gonna try to do this as accurately as possible. Maybe just stop right here. Let's go outside and see how bad I did. Actually, you know what? It is not too bad. It is not too bad. We can just go forward just a little bit more and then set our parking brake and maybe complete the shutdown procedure. Well, not quite yet, I guess, because let's see, we have the APU running now, which means we can shut the engines down one at a time. Right engine, left engine, like my experiment set. Sometimes this happens with my software that I'm controlling, which is SPAD next, and sometimes it becomes unresponsive and my commands are not accepted. So that's what happened when we get close to the gate, but ignore that for now, please. We will just go to the ground operations, ground connections. We will set the chucks. We will request ground power and jetway connection. It's the jetway. Hydraulic panel will turn all the hydraulics to off, and the pumps as well. Fuel pumps will be turned off too. Beacon light can go off now. We will enable the external power and go to our door management page, disarm all the doors, open the left 2 entry, open the cargo forward and aft, and take a look at the weather radar is already turned off, I believe. Yep. Check that too. Turned off, it should be. It's hard to see from this view, I agree. Reset, standby. Let's see here. Cool. Everything is checked and shutdown checklist is completed. We will turn the DRU off. We are gonna secure the aircraft now. Emergency lights. We will request deboarding while we are doing this.
This parking is too small for your aircraft.
Yeah, this happens with GSX. Go to the overhead, turn the emergency lights off, and finally PEX will be turned off.
Passengers aboard started.
When the passengers leave the aircraft. Okay, so that's pretty much all we need to do to fly the 737. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Sorry about that terrible parking and not verifying that my parking brakes was set, but This has been a long video series. I had to do this flight maybe 5 different times to be able to record where we left off. Please consider giving it a like if you enjoyed what you have seen on the screen, and if you are not a channel subscriber but stumbled upon this video, please consider giving it a like and turn on the bell to get notified for future videos. Thanks for being here with me today, and I will be seeing you in the next video.